My name is Hannah, and I'm a 23-year-old housewife.
My husband Ted is 2 years older than me. He's two. We were originally senior and junior college students, met at a club party and hit it off. After a period of friendship, we started dating, and he proposed to me the year I graduated from college. I was in love with him, so of course, yes. I was so excited to be able to marry the person I love that I knew I would have a happy married life. However, reality was not so sweet. After our marriage, we moved in with in-laws, and my mother-in-law hated me from the very beginning. My mother-in-law would tell me that I couldn't eat the food that she cooked because it was so bad. She said, "You can't even get broth." She would go out of her way to find the corner of the room or the dirt on the windowsill after cleaning and would tell me that they were stained and that I should clean them thoroughly. She just didn't seem to like anything, and she was always complaining about everything. If that was all, I would have thought it was just not good enough. However, my mother-in-law would ignore me when I tried to talk to her. When we order food, she always misses portions.
There are 2 portions missing for air.
Oh no, I had inadvertently forgotten that Hannah was here.
It would have been better if my father had noticed it like that. Often, I have no choice but to prepare something else myself. It couldn't have been a careless mistake because it happened so often. So I asked Ted for his advice.
Hey, Ted, do you think your mother dislikes me?
You worry too much. There's no way that my mother, would dislike you.
Ted sounded like he was bothered by my question.
Really? The other day, she forgot to the food for me again.
I tried to prove my point, but he said it was wrong.
It was just a coincidence. You're going to have a long relationship with her from now on, so do it well.
With that, he ended the conversation. Then one day, my mother-in-law pushed past us.
Oh my God, I had no idea there was a big piece of trash here. It's in the way, so I want to throw.
I looked at my mother-in-law's face, who looked at me like I was stupid. Then I was convinced that my mother had been nasty to me on purpose all. From that day on, she began to verbally abuse me whenever Ted and my father were not present. When I talked to Ted about it, he told me about what I asked him the other day.
I told my mom that you said you liked her.
She was very sad to hear that.
Was it because of his insensitive remarks that her abuse has gotten worse?
Was convinced. And then he added,
You're too paranoid. Don't talk about it anymore.
"You are such a pain in the ass," and ended the conversation,
And after that day, Ted started to be late.
saying that he had to work overtime. 6 months later, I found a lipstick stain on his shirt when he came home. I suspected that he was having an at. This was the first time I found something that could be used as evidence. "Ted, what is this?" When I asked him,
This is a great idea.
My husband muttered some words and finally admitted to cheating on me.
"I have been working with a junior colleague at work. I can't believe he was having fun with another woman while his mother abused." When I accused him, he said it was for not being an attractive wife. I was so scared that I couldn't even move, and he got mad at me. Witnessing such a selfish attitude made me realize how much I loved him quickly. After that, I could not forgive him, decided to divorce him, and returned Parent S home. My mother-in-law and Ted were not happy that I wanted to divorce my husband for no good reason, and they complained. However, thanks to my father-in-law, who keeps them under control, the project was successfully completed. I was also able to receive alimony and his cheating partner. 20 years have passed since my divorce from Ted. I got married again and had 3 children with the best person I could have ever met. My oldest son is 18 this year, my sixth 16, and my third son is 14. My husband and I have a great marriage. Raising 3 teenage boys with insatiable appetites is a challenge. but I am leading a fulfilling and happy life. Then one day, I received a call on phone from an unknown number.
Hello, Hannah. It's me, Ted.
Ted? What do you want?
I was surprised that he was calling the blue. How did he find out my phone number first place?
Don't be so cold. We were married, or weren't we? We used to get along so well, and I think we can start all over again.
Have you forgotten how we ended? Besides, I'm already married. There is no way I'm getting back talk with you. It's gross, even to think about it.
I hung up the phone and immediately his phone number. I was surprised by his sudden behavior, trying to get back with me. I refused him once and for all, so that would be the end of it. However, he took an outrageous action that nobody had expected. A few days later, while I was cooking dinner, the doorbell rang. I stopped cooking to go take a look at the doorbell ringing again, followed by a banging sound on the door.
Hannah, I know you're there.
Hurry up and open the door.
What are you doing keeping us waiting?
Ted and his mother. They are banging on the door and loudly. It was so loud that the neighbors see their houses to see what was going. How could they possibly know where? I was terrified by their visit and rush of blood.
Leave your husband and marry me again and give me back my alimony.
Hannah, who will take care of you don't. He took care of you for a long time. Be so stubborn and come home.
Hearing the commotion, my sons came their rooms.
What's happening, Mom? Is that their name? Are they your ex-husband and mother-in-law you've divorced? We'll go check it out, Mom. We're working out, don't worry.
With that, my sons went out from the door.
Who are you? Where's Hannah?
What do you want from our mother?
Eventually, the noise turned into sound. I became worried and went to check. There, I found my son holding Ted's mother-in-law down.
Don't overdo it with regular people. You guys are in the judo club, right?
I know. We're going easy on them.
I knew my boys were strong, so I wasn't worried about them getting beat up. Rather, I was worried that they might tell my ex-husband and his mother. My son let go of his hand after I told him to, and Ted, who was released, seemed in pain.
Ow! How dare you hurt me? I won't let you get away with it. I am the police.
Call them if you want.
Ted then called the police with his hand. A few minutes later, a police car with several police officers arrived at the scene. Ted and his mother cried out to the officers.
When I tried to speak with my ex-wife, they beat me up. They assaulted us.
I was scared because I was suddenly surrounded by 3 muscular men.
Officer, do something about it.
Arrest these kids.
Hannah, is that really what happened?
Huh?
One of the police officers called me. Both Ted and his mother looked puzzled.
My ex-husband and his mother came to my house, making a scene by banging on the door. So these kids went to check on them.
Dad, we just held down these 2 guys. They were acting up. We didn't do anything more than that.
That's right. One of them who came responds to Ted's call.
My current husband is a police officer. When Ted and his mother realized that the policeman was my husband, Ted said,
Hey, that's not fair. Just because it was your son who victimized you doesn't mean we should all be made to feel like bad guys. That's a misuse of power, and you walk away with it.
They started to fuss over it again. Of course, my husband believed his, but it is true that both sides have opinions. So he couldn't just take Ted and his away without any reason. As my husband was thinking about what he could do to avoid being accused of power abuse, the neighbors who had been watching the scene spoke up.
Your sons are right. It was those TV noises that were causing trouble.
They testified that my sons were not to blame. Ted and his mother turned pale and panicked, telling the onlookers to shut up.
See, Ted, I heard that my wife was mistreated before. I would like to hear the rest at the station.
Thus, Ted and his mother were put in separate police cars and taken away. I found out later that my ex-father had dementia. So they wanted me to take care of the alimony back from me. How selfish of them to try and track me down just to get back with me with such a disrespectful attitude. I was speechless when I found out that my friend had passed away. I also learned that Ted had snooped house to check on me. With the help of my husband's brother, a lawyer, we filed a claim for compensation. If Ted tries anything again they will be dealt with legally as a state. Nevertheless, Ted and his mother were two of our sons, and on top of that, they also found out that my husband is a police officer, so it's unlikely that they will do anything further for me. In any case, my husband signed up for a security contract with a security company so that I would feel safe being alone in the house. I'm not comparing you to my ex, but you are kind and wonderful. I am grateful for the family I have, and I will continue to live in peace.
My name is Jasmine, and I recently my 45th birthday.
I have been so focused on raising my children, and now that they are finally independent, I can finally take a break. Just when I thought I could finally time for myself, my husband told me that my parents' company was not doing well. They run a printing company, and I work there as the managing director. I wondered when the company had fallen on financial difficulties. I felt bad that I had been a car housewife without knowing anything. So I have decided to help them until the business picked up. It was hard to learn and unfamiliar, but my father-in-law taught me how, and I was able to do the work myself.
I am sorry that we have to ask for. I don't even know how it got to this.
My father-in-law said, which made me want to help him. Every day, from morning to night, I frantically work with him, and we are always on time with deliveries. I am only helping him to rebuild his business, so I am unpaid. I have no complaints about that and work diligently every day. I was filled with a desire to support my father-in-law, who was deeply in trouble. However, the harder I worked, the more my mother-in-law questioned my husband's work. My mother-in-law would sit in her recliner watching TV or reading magazines, answering the phone. She would go out to the beauty salon, then go shopping, and often comes home with a big shopping bag. My husband, on the other hand, goes day for work, but he never seems to bring back anything. At night, he comes home and talks mother instead of helping with the. It seems that all the orders are being directed through your father-in-law directly over the phone. While my father-in-law and I are running around like headless chicken, my husband and mother-in-law seem to be taking it easy. I asked my husband because it was just so strange.
Where do you go every day? I don't see you bringing back any of your old friends. Your mother just sits around too. We're all working so hard and we don't have time to eat lunch. So we could use a little help.
My husband was furious.
Don't talk like, so much. Just help out a little. Making sales is not the only way to do business. Don't you understand that?
Don't talk like I know. But your fat are working so hard.
Shut up. How hard do you work? Do you know that there are people desperately hard in this world? Those who've stayed home all their idiots. I can't stand them.
What? I've worked so hard at home to our children. You don't have to talk to me like that. I'm just asking for your help.
You can go ahead and say whatever you want, you ignorant idiot.
Then he left the house and went some. It seems that my husband has told this to my mother-in-law.
What do you mean, Jasmine? I don't work?
It's not like that. I just want you.
Shut up. I have important work to do. What do you know?
I'm not saying that you aren't worldly. I'm just saying that I don't even have to go to a beauty salon.
How dare you speak to your mother like that? Okay, just because you've learned a bit of work doesn't mean that you can do everything. You want to kick me and my son out of our business.
What? That is completely.
I don't care about what you do or
I tried to ask my husband for help standing behind my mother-in-law, but he said no.
You have such a big mouth, but look, Mirror, you don't even look like a.
He laughed at me. I looked at my husband in disbelief. My mother-in-law also then said, I'm not going to let you go through this alone.
You are embarrassing. You should pay more attention to your appearance, do.
And she laughed along with my husband. I had worked so hard to protect our home. Now I'm working recklessly to save my in-laws. I thought this was too much for me. I heard something break inside me that had been holding back. I will never forgive these two. The next day, after my mother-in-law and husband went out as usual, I decided to take action.
Bah, I have something to tell you. Let's talk.
My father-in-law looked surprised at my serious face, but he listened to what I had to say. So I told him everything I had found out about my husband and mother-in-law. First, my husband. He has been going out for work every day, but he comes back empty-handed. He is actually addicted to gambling, having lost all along. He was managing our living expenses, had almost run out of money. He was also lured into a series of investment offers, and he put the company's money into investments, causing a big loss for the company. And then there is my mother-in-law. She spends all of her salary every beauty treatments. In addition to that, she was taking company money to buy expensive bags that cost thousands of dollars. She was even cheating on him. The company's money spent by the two amounts to tens of thousands of dollars. Knowing that his wife and son had been killed by a drunk driver, despite all his dedication and work, he continued to fight for the rights of victims. My father-in-law seemed to lose his strength.
Why? How did this happen? I've only been working diligently.
When my father-in-law burst into tears, I knew that I wanted to save him.
Bob, can you forgive them?
My father-in-law pondered for a while.
I can't forgive them for doing this to my father's precious company. But Jasmine, just because we know each other now doesn't mean that I have to like you. I've reached a point where I can't do anything about it anymore.
Leave it to me. Before I got married, I worked for a state company. I got married and dedicated myself to housework at my husband's request, but I secretly invested in a stock with my savings. It has gone up in value considerably. If I sell it, I can pay off the com debt and still have some money left operation.
At first, my father-in-law was reluctant to spend my money. Then, he accepted my wish to help. He meant so much to me. Finally, the day came. My father-in-law gathered everyone in the office.
So, Jasmine was able to save the con.
What kind of joke is this?
What? She saved a company? Did you get those kinds of skills where you stop being a woman?
That's enough. Can't you at least understand that I am in a position to make fun of Jasmine?
My father-in-law yelled, and the two were silent.
Now I knew that I had made the right after all. Jasmine has paid off all the company's debts. You two are fired.
What are you talking about, Jasmine off the debt? There's no way she has that kind of... I haven't given her hardly any money since we got married.
I don't remember raising you like that. You're the most horrible son ever.
My husband seems confused by his fat anger.
It's just as I said, and I'm going to make you responsible for your wasteful spending that caused financial difficulties.
When my mother-in-law and husband saw their faces turn blue, that's where I come in.
I had been investing in my saving single days. Unlike your lousy investments, making steady profits. Thanks to that, I was able to save your father's company. Then I have also investigated all expenses you've been spending. Your mother's beauty treatments and goods, your stocks and unexplainable scam investments, The amount is summarized here for we have had a proper expert look at the calculation, so we won't accept this. You will have to repay all of them.
Both of them are looking at the document in shock. But this is not enough for what they... My father-in-law and I each present a document.
We are divorced as of today. Sign on the document.
Oh no, this is absurd. I told you that investment will pay little while. Listen to me.
You've been with me my whole life. Wouldn't just throw me out, would you?
No matter what you say, Bob and I.W. change our minds.
They were nagging for a while, but of their respective misdeeds had con light. They also had to agree to the divorce. We also sold the house where my husband and I were living. We recalled the money as part of a debt repayment. My mother-in-law and ex-husband, who lost their company and house, have rented a small apartment. We have an official documentation won to the company, so they can't run away from it. They have been procrastinating all lives, but now they will have to pay back the debt together. As for my ex-father-in-law and me, he has been able to pay off his debts. And it's doing great with many orders in daily. New employees have joined our team, and I finally have some time for myself. I am going to do my best to protect family of employees from now on.